Dragon Quest HD-2D is finally available. Yes, the long-awaited HD-2D port of the 1988 classic. Unfortunately, I've got a few reasons why I think you shouldn't play this game. Hear me out, because you might actually agree with me. Before we get to that, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the video after watching it, please. No clickbait, no nothing. I know what you're going to say if you don't watch the full video, so please make sure you stay tuned, because like I said, I think you're going to agree with me. All right, with that out of the way, let's get to the list, starting with the story. Don't play Dragon Quest III unless you like JRPGs with kind of a bare minimum story. Dragon Quest III follows a young hero destined to protect the world from an emerging evil, following in the footsteps of your father. Tasked by the king to embark on a grand adventure, the hero recruits a group of companions and sets off to explore the diverse regions of the world filled with danger, mystery, and some pretty powerful monsters. And along the way, you must solve some local problems, gather some important artifacts, and grow stronger through your experiences. The journey in Dragon Quest III is filled with discovery, as you not only as a hero learn about the looming threat of the world, but also about your own legacy and purpose. This story is really great, blending themes of courage, friendship, and destiny, ultimately weaving together an epic tale of heroism in the face of darkness without truly revealing its full depth until the end. But like I said, kind of bare minimum story. This is a story that's more or less drip fed to you while you play the game, and it's easy to compare this game story-wise to a lot of other things that are coming out today. No, it's not as rich, but bear in mind this game originally came out back in 1988 and was confined to the NES. So personally, I think it's really unrealistic to expect a totally mind-blowing story, but I found with Dragon Quest, specifically the older games, it's not really about the story. You're more or less playing it for the gameplay, and that's totally okay. What story is there is actually pretty good. Don't play Dragon Quest III unless you enjoy the grind. Now, like I just said before, the gameplay is really the main focus of this game. The battle system in Dragon Quest III is a turn-based, traditional JRPG combat system that emphasizes strategy and resource management, and especially party customization, which we'll get onto here soon. When the hero and party encounter enemies, the game shifts to a first-person view, with you issuing commands to each party member in turn, or you can select go all out, or use strategy, or choose moves for me. It's kind of there's some automated stuff here with the remake that I actually quite enjoy, and it's really good for grinding. But anyway, combat is super straightforward but engaging, with a focus on attacking or spell casting or using items or defending. It's fairly straightforward stuff, but you got to remember, Dragon Quest is really the one that did this first. You know, laid the blueprint for all the other JRPGs that we love. So yeah, I love it. Now, unless you're playing on the easiest difficulty, the Draki difficulty, combat is really not just about brute force. You've got to manage your resources carefully, particularly magic points for spellcasting. There's not a lot of MP heals like there are available in other games. Of course, with Dragon Quest III, you need to get prayer rings or specific elixirs along the way, so you've got to be very careful, and you can't spam spells like you might like to in other games. You also need to consider enemy weaknesses and resistances. Status effects and buffs and debuffs also play an important role. Enemies in Dragon Quest III range from basic slimes to some more fearsome bosses, each with their own distinct behaviors and attack patterns. Boss battles in particular require careful planning and strategic use of healing and buffs and powerful attacks. And as the game progresses, enemies become a lot more difficult, necessitating thoughtful party development and tactical combat decisions. Yes, that's right. You need to actually think before you act in this kind of game. Overall, Dragon Quest III is really fun in terms of the battle system and grinding, combining the simplicity of traditional turn-based combat with extra layers of strategy, making it both accessible to new players and rewarding for those die-hard fans, especially on the Draconian difficulty, which I don't even know if I'm going to get to that, because yeah, even playing on the normal difficulty, I still had a hard time in some spots. Now, hang on a sec. This is normally where I say subscribe to the channel if you're not, but did you guys know that I just opened up my YouTube channel memberships, giving you access to some really cool badges and emotes and even different tiers of stuff as well? So please check the join button if you guys are interested in supporting the channel and getting some really cool stuff. And I want to give a huge thank you and shout out to Gerald Almiller 1116, the first person to join the channel memberships. Thanks so much for supporting the channel. If you guys want to support as well, check the join button, read the tiers, and see what one is right for you. Anyway, let's get on to another reason why I think might not want to buy Dragon Quest III HD-2D. Don't play Dragon Quest III unless you like games with job systems. Now, the character class system in Dragon Quest III is one of the game's defining features, offering you a high level of customization and strategic flexibility. At the beginning of each adventure, the player selects the hero's companions from a variety of classes. These classes include traditional roles like warrior and mage and priest, as well as some more specialized options like thief and merchant. And even new with this game, you have the monster wrangler as well, which is very exciting. You can recruit different enemies and monsters and use them to your advantage. And each class brings a distinct play style to the party, whether it's focusing on physical strength or powerful magic or utility skills. And as the game progresses, you can head to All Trades Abbey and switch character classes and upgrade character classes or cross grade and just keep your existing stats from like a priest, for example, and then go on to a warrior. It allows you to create a unique hybrid character that blends the best of both classes. So I highly recommend getting your party members to minimum level 20, experimenting with different character classes, and just see what works for you. I mean, there's a lot of guides available online for this kind of stuff, and I had fun with changing classes in my playthrough. It was really cool. Don't play Dragon Quest III unless you like gorgeous HD-2D visuals. Now, this is a beautiful game, and I talked a lot about HD-2D games in my video last week, which I highly recommend you check out if you haven't watched yet. But I think in terms of the HD-2D games, this is probably my favorite looking. And the reason for that is because compared to a lot of other HD-2D games, yes, this is kind of a more flat or plain looking game. It doesn't have that bloom overall that some of the other HD-2D titles from Square have, and I really enjoy that. It's just a really great upgraded version from the original, and I think it just is so true to form with what you're seeing compared to like the Nintendo version or the Super Nintendo version. It's great, it's beautiful. But there's one thing that I really didn't like in terms of the visuals, and it's only because this was showed off in the initial reveal trailer. It was this like Golden Sun kind of like 2D 3D version of the battlefield. While yes, Dragon Quest is famous for having the head-on view, seeing the enemies while your players do actions, I really kind of wanted them to adopt that Golden Sun-esque, kind of side view for the characters doing their actions. So it's a shame that they didn't incorporate that into the game, but I mean, overall, visual-wise, beautiful game. I love everything about this. It's so aesthetically pleasing. Even playing on my OLED Steam Deck, it was absolutely gorgeous in handheld mode. And I can imagine those of you playing on your PlayStations or whatever else on your big TVs, it would have looked great as well. Gorgeous game. Don't play Dragon Quest III unless you're a chill guy who just likes to grind metal slimes for experience points. Don't play Dragon Quest III unless you like to figure everything out for yourself. Now, of course, yes, in today's day and age, you can play games with guides that will walk you and hold your hand through every aspect of the game. And if you're somebody who just wants to play to unwind and just chill out, have fun, that might be the thing to do. The game does offer some hand-holding in terms of telling you where your next location is, where you need to go, or having X's on the map, but I think you really need a guide to truly tell you where to go and what to do. This is super old school in terms of the gameplay. You just walked around, talked to people. It's kind of very fetch questy as well, but you got to remember the source material. This is an older game. This game is older than I am. So yeah, it's kind of bare bones, but the visuals make up for it. The beautiful music makes up for it as well. So whether you want to figure everything out for yourself or you want to play with a guide helping fill the gaps, you can kind of customize the way you play with that. Don't play Dragon Quest III unless you kind of like post-game content, but no New Game Plus. So after you roll the credits with Dragon Quest III, there is a handful of things that you can do, and be prepared because it's going to be difficult. I tried some of the post-game stuff just because I was curious to see what I could do or what was available to me. And yeah, it was incredibly difficult. Be prepared. Make sure you grind throughout the game. Make sure you get your metal slime experience points or your liquid metal slime experience points because you're going to need it where the game sends you in terms of post-game content. And yes, unfortunately, no New Game Plus. Would have been really cool to retain my stats and play a harder difficulty, retaining my characters and going through the game. But you know what? It's just not possible here. That's okay. I might even just double dip and buy the game on the Switch, a couple months from now and start up a new character, new journey, different party members, and just play to my heart's content. Might even be a good game to play with my son as well, because he kind of does like the turn-based games. So we'll see how we go. But yeah, I wouldn't have high expectations in terms of what you can do after you roll credits. There's a couple things you can do, but it's not a whole lot. So there's my list of reasons why you shouldn't play Dragon Quest III HD-2D, of course, unless you like this or whatever else. So yeah, hopefully no clickbait comments, but hey, it's probably going to be inevitable anyway. So if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment down below, or consider joining the channel, get access to some cool emotes and badges and stuff. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again on the next video. Bye-bye.